I've always been the boring, responsible person in my friend group. The one who shows up on time, pays bills early, and treats side hustles like they're suspicious. I'm 38, work in IT for a mid-sized healthcare company, and my favorite kind of excitement is seeing a retirement account line go up a little. So when I say I made a test website, I mean it literally. Not a startup, not a dream, a test. I wanted to learn a new framework for work, so I spun up a small site on a cheap domain and a $6 per month hosting plan. Something I could break without consequences. I even named it like it didn't matter, just a plain, dumb name I won't repeat because I'm still paranoid. At that point, money was mostly a spreadsheet to me. Predictable, controlled, not emotional. I didn't know I was about to find out how fast a few digits on a dashboard can turn you into someone you don't recognize. The financial context matters because nobody panics over a hobby unless they're already stretched. My wife, Jenna, and I had been doing the adult thing for years: mortgage, daycare, 2 car payments, and the please don't break emergency fund. Then my company froze raises. Then Jenna's hours got cut when her clinic changed ownership. Then our son needed speech therapy, which insurance covered in the same way a paper towel covers a flood. We weren't destitute, but we were constantly one surprise away from a credit card swipe. I didn't tell Jenna how anxious I was. I kept the tone calm. I did the math. I made a plan. The plan always made me feel better, even when the plan was basically, hope nothing else happens. The test site was supposed to be a distraction, a harmless little project that reminded me I could still build something. The site was simple, a searchable directory of very specific resources in a niche I knew from work, public-facing stuff, nothing confidential. Think how-to guides, checklists, and links to official forms. I wrote a handful of short pages myself, then used a script to pull in publicly available data and format it neatly. I added Google Analytics because I'm a data nerd and wanted to see if my code was firing correctly. I didn't even tell anyone about the URL. No ads, no promotions, no social posts. It was a private sandbox. 2 weeks later, I checked the dashboard and saw 47,000 sessions. I honestly assumed it was a bug, like maybe my own refreshes had looped or the script was spamming itself. But the real-time view showed people browsing from all over the U.S., clicking around like the site was real. A calm person would have shrugged and turned it off. I didn't. I felt something in my chest that wasn't quite joy. It was relief mixed with hunger. Traffic kept climbing. 100K sessions. 250K. Then one Monday morning, I logged in and saw 3 million sessions in the last 30 days. The site was still ugly, still basically a test. But it was fast, searchable, and answering questions people apparently had. Then the money part arrived like it had been waiting outside the door. My hosting company emailed me. I'd exceeded my bandwidth cap by an absurd amount. My $6 per month plan was about to become $480 per month unless I upgraded immediately. I stared at that number like it was a prank. We were already tight. I couldn't tell Jenna I'd created a bill we didn't plan for because I wanted to play with code. So I upgraded anyway, on my credit card, and told myself I'd shut it down after I figured out why it was happening. But I didn't shut it down. I watched the traffic like it was oxygen. I figured out the why by accident. A friend texted me a screenshot. My site was ranking #1 on Google for a very specific search term, the exact kind of search term desperate people type at 2 a.m. when they're trying to solve a problem and don't want to read a government PDF. I felt that smug, rational satisfaction I built something useful. I told myself the traffic was earned. Then I looked deeper and saw the referrers. Dozens of forums, Facebook groups, even a couple Reddit threads linking to my pages. People were recommending it to each other because it was easier to use than the official sources. I told Jenna that night. I framed it like a neat little story, something positive. She smiled, but her first question wasn't "that's cool." It was, "Can it make money?" I said no automatically. Reflex, like money would contaminate it. But after she went to bed, I opened an ad network application. I got approved fast, like suspiciously fast. Within a week, the site had ads running. I kept it tasteful, no flashing garbage, no pop-ups. Just banners that looked like they belonged. The first day, I made $63. The next day, $112. By the end of the month, I'd made $9,400. That number didn't feel real. It felt like a typo with commas. I refreshed the page until my eyes hurt. I didn't tell Jenna the full amount. I told her a few thousand. I told myself it was cautious, not deceptive, like I wanted to make sure the income was stable before celebrating. But the truth was uglier. The money made me protective, possessive, like if I said it out loud, someone would take it. That was the first shift in me. Not panic, not rage, just a quiet, greedy secrecy that I'd never associated with my own character. The first plot twist hit when the ad network froze my account. No warning, no gradual decline, just an email that said my traffic was invalid and my earnings were under review. I felt my stomach drop so hard I got lightheaded. I hadn't bought traffic. I hadn't run shady scripts. I hadn't done anything, at least nothing I considered wrong. Then I checked my logs, really checked them, and saw the pattern. Thousands of hits from the same ranges, clicking ads in a way no normal human does. Someone was botting me. At first I thought it was random internet nonsense. Then I noticed the click spike the same days I'd bragged in a private Slack channel at work. Just a small developer group, mostly harmless. The days I'd mention numbers. That recontextualized the whole earned story. My million-level traffic wasn't purely organic growth. Some of it was someone treating my site like a slot machine. And now that machine was jammed with my money inside it. I didn't sleep. I felt ridiculous because it was internet money, and I'm a grown man with a mortgage. But the truth was, I had already mentally spent it, on credit card balances, on therapy bills, on catching our breath. I filed an appeal with the ad network and sent them pages of logs. I added bot protection and rate limiting. I removed certain pages that were getting hammered. 2 weeks later, they reinstated the account, but they withheld the full payout. They paid me $3,200 and marked the rest invalid. I told Jenna we'd made $3,200. She said, okay, and tried to sound supportive, but I saw disappointment flash across her face before she smoothed it over. I hated her for that briefly, which shocked me. It wasn't her fault. But the money had turned both of us into people who watched each other's reactions too closely. Then a letter arrived in the mail. Not email. A real envelope. It was a cease and desist. Twist number 2. I didn't fully own what I thought I owned. A law firm claimed my site was reproducing copyrighted material. Specifically, a chunk of text that my script had pulled from a public resource. I'd assumed public availability meant public use. That was my mistake, and ignorance doesn't pay legal fees. They demanded I remove the content and provide an accounting of profits. Profits made it sound like I was some slick operator. I was a guy with a test site and a credit card bill. I panicked and did the most responsible-looking irresponsible thing. I paid an online lawyer service $1,800 to draft a response. I pulled the content immediately. I updated my script. I added a disclaimer that sounded official. Jenna found the invoice in our email because I'd used the shared account. That was the first truly ugly fight. Not about copyright, about secrecy. She said, "Why are you hiding money stuff from me?" I said, "Because every time money appears, it becomes the only thing you see." And then I realized I just described myself too. For a minute, it seemed like we'd survived it. The law firm backed off after I removed the content. The ad network stayed active. Traffic steadied at a reasonable, insane level, hundreds of thousands of visits a month. Not millions. I started doing things properly. I formed an LLC. I opened a separate business bank account. I tracked expenses. I treated it like a real operation because the numbers were real. By month 6, the site was generating about $18,000 to $25,000 a month. Not every month, but enough that we paid off 2 credit cards and rebuilt the emergency fund. Jenna relaxed. I relaxed. We started talking about small upgrades to the house like normal people again. This is the part where I thought the crisis was over. The false resolution. I remember standing in our kitchen, making coffee, thinking, we found the cheat code. We're okay now. Then my accountant asked a simple question. Who's managing your affiliate links? I told her I didn't have affiliate links. She turned her laptop toward me. My site did. Twist number 3. Someone had been siphoning money through my own website. Buried in my pages were links that redirected through affiliate tracking. Not on every page, just on the highest traffic ones. The ones that people clicked when they were in a hurry. I hadn't put them there. I checked the code repository. The commits were in my account. Same username, same access token. My hands went cold as I realized the only other person who ever touched my server. My younger brother, Kyle. Kyle is the kind of guy who always has a new opportunity. Crypto in 2021. Dropshipping in 2022. A consulting gig that's always just about to pay out. I'd let him help me tighten security early on because he used to do this stuff. I wanted to believe he was growing up. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. He actually sounded offended, like I was accusing him of stealing pennies. It's just affiliate revenue, he said. You're already making bank. How much? I asked. He hesitated, then said, like, maybe a couple grand? My accountant found the tracking accounts. Over 5 months, it was closer to $67,000. Money didn't just reveal a flaw in Kyle. It revealed one in me. I wanted to be the calm, competent older brother so badly that I'd handed him the keys to my life. Jenna wanted me to call the cops. She said the word theft like she'd been practicing it. I didn't. I told myself it would destroy my parents, split the family, ruin Kyle's future. All the usual excuses people make when someone they love steals from them. Instead, I made a deal. Kyle would sign a promissory note, pay back a set amount monthly, and give up access permanently. In exchange, I wouldn't press charges. He cried. He hugged me. He thanked me for being understanding. It almost worked on me, until I realized the hug was also him measuring how much he could get away with. That night, I couldn't sleep because I kept replaying all the times I'd covered for him. All the times I'd lent him money. All the times I'd said, he's just going through a phase. My whole identity had been built around control. And yet, when someone close crossed the line, I negotiated like I was still trying to keep things comfortable. 2 weeks later, Kyle missed his first payment. Then the fourth plot twist arrived, and it didn't come from him. Came from my email inbox. An acquisition offer. A legitimate company, real domain, real executives, real LinkedIn profiles wanted to buy the site. Their offer, $1, $2 million, structured as a mix of cash and earnout. I read the email 3 times, certain it was another scam. But they referenced metrics only someone with access could know. They had been watching. My chest got tight in a way that felt like both excitement and nausea. $1 million is a different kind of number. It's a number that changes the way you breathe. Jenna cried when I told her. She said, "This fixes everything." She meant the mortgage, the college fund, the fear. But the buyer's due diligence request was intense. They wanted server access, traffic sources, ad account histories, and this part stuck out, proof that user data was not being sold or shared. I said, confidently, "We don't sell data." Then I dug through my server configuration and found a plugin I hadn't installed. It was collecting email addresses and search terms and sending them to an external endpoint. Not a bug. Not an accident. Someone had turned my helpful resource site into a data funnel. I immediately knew who. Kyle hadn't just siphoned affiliate money. He'd been harvesting people. And I had let him in. I confronted Kyle for the second time in my life like I actually meant it. He didn't even pretend to be ashamed. He said the data was anonymous. It wasn't. He said, everyone does it. They don't, not legally. He said I was being dramatic because the site helped people. He also said something that made my blood go hot. You wouldn't even have this without me. That was the real betrayal, not the money, but the rewrite. He was trying to make himself the author of my luck, the hero of my work. I told him the acquisition would fall apart if I couldn't prove compliance. He shrugged like a teenager caught vaping. So I did the thing I'd been avoiding. I hired a real attorney and a cybersecurity firm. I locked down everything. I documented the breach. I sent Kyle a demand letter and gave him a deadline. He responded by calling my parents and telling them I was threatening him over a website. My mom called sobbing. My dad called angry. They didn't ask what Kyle did. They asked why I was being so harsh. That's when the financial truth finished changing me. Money doesn't just tempt people. It drafts them into teams. And if you have it, you become the villain in someone else's story the moment you stop sharing. The acquisition didn't go through cleanly. Not at first. I disclosed everything to the buyers. I expected them to walk. Instead, they lowered the offer and demanded warranties, indemnities, and a holdback large enough to make my stomach hurt. They weren't paying for a dream. They were paying for a risk. We eventually closed at $780,000 upfront with a smaller earnout tied to performance. Still life-changing. Still not the clean, we're saved fantasy Jenna and I had pictured in our kitchen. Kyle never paid me back. He disappeared for a while, then resurfaced like nothing happened. My parents barely speak to me now. They talk to Jenna more than they talk to me, like she's the softer route around my boundaries. Jenna and I are okay, but we're not the same. Money didn't fix our stress. It just replaced one kind with another. She trusts me less because I hid the early numbers. I trust myself less because I learned how easily I can justify secrecy when I'm scared. The part that keeps me up sometimes isn't the traffic or the payout. It's this: I started as a calm, responsible guy building a harmless test site, convinced I was in control. Then the money arrived and I found out what I'm capable of, how quickly I can become territorial, how easily I can mistake protecting my family for controlling the story, how blind I can be to people I want to believe in. Million-level traffic didn't feel like success, felt like bait. And the hardest truth I've had to swallow is that I didn't just get lucky. I also got used by a system that rewards speed over safety, and by someone I loved who saw my work as an unlocked cash drawer. I still build things. I still love the quiet click of code working the way it should. But I don't build anything just as a test anymore. Because now I know the moment money gets involved, it stops being a project. It becomes a mirror. I want to close this video with something simple, honest, and real. If you've stayed with me until this point, you've listened to a piece of someone's life. Maybe familiar, maybe strange, maybe painful, maybe inspiring. But the fact that you're still here means you cared enough to hear it through, and that matters more than you know. We all come to stories looking for something. Sometimes it's comfort, sometimes escape, sometimes a reminder that we're not as alone as we think. Sometimes we just want to know that other people struggle too, that their lives twist and turn in ways that feel unpredictable and unfair, just like ours. Maybe today you heard something that reflects your own life. Maybe it reminded you of someone you love. Or maybe it simply gave you a moment to breathe. Whatever the reason, thank you. The world moves fast. People rush past each other. Everyone is busy. Everyone is carrying something heavy. So when someone chooses to stop, listen, and share a moment with you, it's not small. It's not nothing. This connection, even if it's brief, even if it's through a screen. I hope this story gave you something to think about. Maybe it challenged you, maybe it gave you hope. Maybe it made you feel less alone. And if it did, then this time together was worth it. Before I go, I want to leave you with one thought. Life rarely makes sense while you're living it. The decisions that feel impossible today, the moments that break you, the things you wish you could undo, they all become part of a larger picture you can't see yet. Sometimes the things that hurt the most turn into the moments that define you. Sometimes the losses become the reason you grow. And sometimes the ending becomes the beginning of something better. So wherever you are right now, if you're struggling, rebuilding, starting over, or searching for something you can't quite name, don't give up on yourself. Keep moving forward. Keep choosing the next step, even if it's small. Your life is bigger than today's problems, and you're stronger than you realize. If this story meant something to you, I hope you'll stay with this channel. There are many more stories to tell. Stories about resilience, about mistakes, about unexpected chances, about the strange ways life tests us and teaches us. And I would be glad to share them with you. For now, this is where we part ways. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your presence. Take care of yourself, be good to the people around you, and remember that even the smallest choices can change everything. Until the next video, stay safe, stay curious, and keep going.